Nickelodeon tier list. Fair warning, I was more of a Disney kid. And so there was like an era where Nickelodeon was trying to respond to what Disney was doing. That's where my shit was. And that was kind of like the iCarly Victorious era. And so we're just gonna rate what I've seen, pretty much. Starting off with Drake and Josh, dude, is it even a question? I feel like we're gonna have a lot of S tiers. We're not though, because there's also a lot of ass on here actually. Zoe 101. It's like a B. It's like a B. I think that it was like really good for what it was at the time, but like, you know, I'd rather just watch something else now. I feel you get something very similar out of Victorious. Speaking of Victorious, we have iCarly, which is obviously S tier. They collabed with Victorious. That's why I said it. Probably like one of the most memorable from Nickelodeon, aside from a very obvious one. Rugrats, I'm gonna put it in the A tier. It's really good. It's really good with the babies. They also had the movie with Reptar. This seems to be a little bit of a top-heavy tier list because we have SpongeBob SquarePants. And where else are you gonna put it? You know, the new seasons, it did kind of fall off. SpongeBob SquarePants might be the best show that you can put in A tier. I'm still putting it in S, but I wouldn't be upset if somebody did this just because they did kind of screw it. I'm not gonna do that though. It is still S tier, one of the best cartoons of all time. Next up, we got Cat Dog. And look, dude, it's good, but I can't put it above like Zoe 101. You know, it was good. Maybe I could. I didn't watch a ton of it as a kid, but it was just good. You know, wasn't great, just good. I could even see it going C tier, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Fairly Odd Parents, that's A tier. That's up there with Rugrats. It's just good, man. There's just, you know, it's not perfect, but it's just all around good. Cat Scratch. I'm super nostalgic for the show. I had a McDonald's toy from it. It was fine. It was like C tier. Not as good as Cat Dog, but it was kind of the same thing. Not the same thing, but like, you know, they kind of gave you like that same kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Same kind of vibe. Breadwinners is like D. I don't think I have a lot of hot takes about it. Oh no, I do. I do, actually. And we'll get there. Breadwinners is a D. It's not like terrible, but you know, it was fine. You know, it wasn't anything super special or anything. But you know, it's just kind of boring. I won't turn the channel. I won't change the channel unless something fires on like one of the other ones. But so did anybody so in your family, I sat through commercials every time. You know, some people, like my cousin, for example, would switch between the channels when commercials were on. And they told me it was because when commercials were on like Nick, they weren't on Disney, which was usually the case, except for that they were always like a little bit off sync, if not a lot off sync. Sometimes they just both have commercials on at the same time. They told me that, and so they'd switch between channels, which was super annoying because then all of a sudden you're missing the first little bit of Austin and Allie, and then you're all confused, and then you switch it back, and now you don't know what's happening in this episode of Drake and Josh. You know, if it was something like SpongeBob, you're screwed because each episode is like 2. You know, and so you miss like the first like 15, you miss the first like minute or something on like the commercials on the other one, and then all of a sudden you have no idea what's going on in this episode of SpongeBob. And so I learned how to be patient and be respectful and sit through commercials so that I could watch the shows that I liked. And some people didn't. So I don't want to say that I'm better for sitting through commercials, but I do, and I am better for sitting through commercials, especially now because when you're streaming, now that you're streaming on, not streaming like this, like not Twitch streaming, but now that you're streaming on like Hulu and Netflix and HBO, and all those want to add ads to them, all ad tiers, you know, I'm prepared to sit through those commercials. Everybody else will like sit on their phones doing whatever. I won't be doing that. I'll be sitting there just waiting through the commercials, doing just fine. I'll be perfectly fine. I don't even have to go on my phone, you know. I don't even have to go on my phone. And that's why my attention span is so great. Rabbids Invasion is an F tier. Anything Rabbids, dude, it's ass. It's not even like worth talking about it, honestly. It's garbage. Next up we have Planet Sheen, and that's F tier. It's bad. It's really bad. I know it was like a little bit of a joke a while ago, but it's practically unwatchable. Honestly, it's horrible. It's really bad. Pete and Pete, I did watch a little bit of it. I don't remember too much of it, but it was like C tier, especially since I don't remember too much of it. It's fine. That means that it was unmemorable, and that means it's in C tier. My Life as a Teenage Robot, C tier. It was inoffensive. It really was like just nothing. It, you know, you turn it on, you watch it for a little bit. You know, it was fine for when you're bored, but do. Which I guess all these are for when you're bored. So that's a pretty dumb thing to say. But, you know, Drake and Josh, I'd stop what I'm doing to go watch Drake and Josh. You know, once you hit C tier and below, it's like, well, it's on, you know. Naked Brothers Band goes up in B tier. This one's actually good. One of the first ones I feel like where they... No, that's not true. That's not true. They loved having kids sing, but they did have kids sing in Naked Brothers Band. That's like what made me want to learn how to play like an instrument. And then my mom bought me a guitar and I never learned how to play it. But we're still working on it. We're still working on it, so... just give it time, man. Just give it time. It takes a while. It takes time to learn anything. Henry Danger, dude. Oh my god. If you watch Henry Danger, I'm laughing out loud. The thing about Henry Danger is that, like, I know some people, like younger cousins and stuff, where that's like iCarly to them. Like they grew up with fucking Henry Danger, like to the point where it's like, oh man, dude, like it's so good. I just love this show so much and I'm so nostalgic for it. But it's bad, dude. It's not good. And I think too, like growing up with Drake and Josh, iCarly, Zoe 101, you know, as like your live action Nickelodeon, like you just had it better, you know? And then Henry Danger, they're like force feeding you slop. And you just have to kind of take it. They had Jenna Ortega on Disney Channel. You know, that's an insane world that they're living in. And Olivia Rodrigo. Olivia Rodrigo was on Disney Channel too. The fact that we have like Disney Channel people who are going on to be like superstars, like fresh out of Disney Channel, it's insane. Olivia Rodrigo was on Disney Channel like 4 years ago. Like it wasn't even that long ago. It was longer than 4 years, but you know, Miley Cyrus had to like get naked on stage to get away from Disney Channel. What the hell was I even talking about? I don't know. Legend of Korra is like C tier. It's fine. I never watched a lot of it. It's just more Avatar, which was pretty good, and I'll rank Avatar next. It was just like more Avatar, which obviously isn't like a bad thing. Avatar, probably A. I haven't watched a ton of Avatar, but what I did watch was great. I used to get Avatar and Naruto confused when I was a kid. Now that I'm an adult, I don't. They're very different shows, but both good. Both are good. Avatar also has the fantastic M. Night Shyamalan movie. And I don't know how you can dislike Avatar after seeing that live action movie. Fred the Show is F tier. I don't think that's surprising. This is a little bit of a hot take, but I liked the Fred movies. Don't tell anybody, but I liked the Fred movies. The show, though, was actually garbage. You know, aside from being, like, literally unwatchable, it's fine. Fred movies were dope. They were good. They were really good. I'm going to hide the Thundermans now to talk about the Fred movies some more. The Fred movies. First one? was actually fantastic. I think that a lot of people like shit on it, but it was like I don't know, it felt like satirical almost. Like it was like it was like a weird like avant-garde comedy to like watch when I was a kid. Like it was a very weird movie for me to watch as a kid, but I liked it. You know what I mean? But like there's the whole thing like nothing happens in the fucking movie. But it felt like it was like this is just this very weird thing, you know? Second one, they tried to make it a little bit more of like a real movie. And I think it's a little bit worse than that, but they really made up for it by having such a captivating story. And the story of Fred 2 is fantastic. And then you have Camp 3, or Fred 3, Camp Fred or whatever. And that one's just okay, but it's still good. Like, it's still good. It's just not great. It's not really good. It's just, you know, I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it. But, you know, Thundermans is D tier. It's right next to Henry Danger because they're pretty much the exact same show. One just has more superheroes in it. And is also worse, actually. But I'll save that for when we're actually ranking them. But the Thundermans is worse than Henry Danger. Both are ass. Big Time Rush, dude. I think this is a thumbnail pick because this shit is D tier. Not like I'm doing it for the thumbnail, but I'm going to put that one in the thumbnail because people really like that show. And I think that it's actually like, I think that it's actively bad. It's ass. Maybe I didn't like say it out loud, but I agreed with the sentiment and in my head. And every time I hear people talk about it, I can't help but like just roll my eyes because it's not a good show. It's not a very good show. I think that it's weird too because I think that Big Time Rush, the love for Big Time Rush is very clearly like just a nostalgia thing. And that's pretty much it. Like aside from nostalgia, like I don't think that people actually like the show. But it's weird because you can be nostalgic for Drake and Josh and iCarly, which are actually good shows. You know, so why doesn't the nostalgia hit on good shows and the nostalgia actually only hits for Big Time Rush? And it comes down to my theory of it being this. I think that it's just trying to be different, in all honesty. I think that it's everybody likes Drake and Josh and iCarly, and so I actually like Big Time Rush. Yeah, I think that it was also like a and obviously men can watch it and men did watch it. I watched it when I was a kid because around the time that Big Time Rush was on, also like nothing else felt like it was on. But it was a girl show. It was a show for girls to look at hot guys. And that's fine. Or for guys to look at hot guys too. Maybe you had a sexual awakening over Big Time Rush. If that's the case, then your love for Big Time Rush is valid. If you had a sexual awakening over Big Time Rush, then I'll accept it. But aside from that, it's not very good. True Jackson VP. True Jackson VP was like... It was probably D tier. It was probably D tier. It was not good. It wasn't like that bad. It's probably sitting like right here, where it's like almost just fine. But it's still not, you know, just a very nothing show, just kind of a filler. We need something to put out. Well, let's do that True Jackson VP thing that the one guy was talking about. Let's just give him the show that he was begging for. And then we'll cancel it after like 2 seasons. Because then we find something better. Also, sitting in the D tier is All Grown Up. Don't turn my Rugrats into adults. They turned Tommy Pickles into like an emo kid. Gave him like purple hair. Just don't mess with my Rugrats like that, dude. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, dude. This might be a hot take too. Shit's like C tier. It was not that good. It was like cool. But then when it's not being cool, you're sitting through like actual hot garbage. Because it was really cool. Jimmy Neutron is just a cool character. She was carried by Carl and Sheen. Title character wasn't even good. I would agree, except Planet Sheen sucks too. But yeah, Carl was goated. Jimmy Neutron was the cool one though. It's like you watch Jimmy Neutron for like the moments where Jimmy was cool. And then Carl, like, he got you through the rough parts. You know what I mean? And Sheen was fine. Sheen was perfectly fine in that show. And then they butchered him in Planet Sheen. It is what it is, because you did get some cool stuff out of Jimmy. And it's weird, too, because Jimmy Neutron was just a better game character than he was, like, a cartoon character. Like, you see Jimmy Neutron in, like, the Nickelodeon, like, the Nicktoons Unite games and stuff. And he's just way cooler in those. Like, it seems like Jimmy Neutron was made as a cartoon to put him in games. But shout out to Jimmy Neutron. Huge ass forehead. I can't remember what I said. I'm trying to think about what I said. Sanjay and Craig, dude, this shit was ass. It wasn't terrible. Like, it's not bottom of the barrel. It's probably the best in this tier so far. But we're going to get to one that's actually the top of this one. And I think it makes perfect sense. And everybody's going to agree with me, actually, and, like, applaud me when I do it. But Sam and Cat was A tier. Sam and Cat, dude, oh my god, it was so good. I had this huge little boy crush on Jeanette McCurdy when I was a kid. And now that I'm an adult, I have this little adult crush on Jeanette McCurdy. As an adult now, obviously. Like, as her being an adult, I don't have a crush on, like, Sam Puckett. You know, it's Jeanette McCurdy. When I was a kid, it was Sam Puckett. Because I didn't understand actors. And, like, you know, I thought that it was, like, real, but... I didn't think it was real. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're a kid, you don't, like, connect the shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying. And then Ariana Grande as well was, like, in a similar thing for me. I had a big crush on... well, first it was Jade. If I had to rank the Victorious girls from when I was a kid, from the lens of me being a kid, not as, like, an adult now. As an adult now, they're all, like, F tier. Because I'm an adult. But if I rank them from, like, how I thought when I was a kid, it probably went, like, Jade. Cat. Both of those are S tier. Tori's, like, D tier. Trina's F tier. And I think that's all the women in that show. But yeah, I had a big crush on Jade, and I had a big crush on Cat. Mostly Jade, but Cat was also, you know, there. And Cat, if Jade didn't exist, Cat probably would have been, like, number one. Like, just, I would have felt about Cat in the same way that I felt about Jade. You know what I mean? But Jade was in the show, which made Cat seem worse by comparison. But then you put her in a show that Jade isn't in, and then she still ends up getting upstaged by Jeanette McCurdy. But that's fine. And then I read her book, and you know, I start liking the show a lot less, but you know, it already exists. You know? And so, as long as you pirate it, actually, it's fine. Because it already exists. And so, it's not like you're supporting this this show that... I don't pirate it, by the way, but it's not like you're supporting the show that is actively doing harm. You know what I mean? It's already over. It's already done. And it's not like it's like a Nazi show or anything. Obviously, it was behind the scenes. If you watch, like, Nazi propaganda shows, then yeah. Don't do that, obviously. And right next to it's Victorious. It was also good. It's not just because I thought that they were, like, attractive when I was a kid. It was just a good show. Sam and Cat. We're back to Sam and Cat. I'm taking Victorious off the board for now. Sam and Cat, I didn't like it just because I was attracted to the TV show characters. It was also just good. It was entertaining. It was a good show. Same thing with Victorious. You know, I'm sure people had sexual awakenings over Victorious too. They did, actually. They did, because it was the Quentin Reviews talked about it. It was in the take a hint thing. People realized that they were lesbians because of it. And it's actually a good show too. So it's just Big Time Rush, but better. And also, you probably could have been, like, sexually awakened by Beck. I'm sure that there were a lot of guys who got flustered over Beck when they were kids. We're going to rate the Loud House next. And the Loud House is kind of like the rest of these, just perfectly fine. There's not too much to say about it. There are a lot of kids now who are watching the Loud House, actually. Lincoln Loud was nuts when Nick All-Stars open beta. Or not even open beta, it was closed beta because you had to pay for it. Is that a closed beta? Closed beta is invite only, so it's not... It's still open and you just had to pay for it, right? Fanboy and Chum Chum, dude. Top of F. It's so bad that it's, like, almost good. Like, the whole show feels like a joke. And that's how I feel about it. Anything else on this list, aside from Rabbids Invasion, which is, like, literally just, like, a shameless cash grab. Somebody made these and like they went in there and they're like, oh, hey man, like we got this idea. And Nick was like, okay, we're going to greenlight your idea. You know what I mean? And we're glad that you're passionate about it. Fanboy and Chum Chum was like, oh man, wouldn't it be funny if we made like the worst show ever? And Nick was like, yeah, go ahead. You know, we're already failing. We're already losing to Disney Channel and Cartoon Network. Mighty B. This was fine. This is like Loud House level for me. I feel like nobody ever talks about the Mighty B, but nobody really talks about Loud House either. And you know, Mighty B was fine. It was like obnoxious and annoying, but so are most cartoons, really. It's just, do you like the obnoxious and annoying parts? Like Fairly Odd Parents is obviously, that one's very obnoxious and annoying. SpongeBob SquarePants is very obnoxious. It's just, do you like that type of obnoxious? I don't even think I have to say anything else, dude. Ned's Declassified is like classic. It is kind of like a boy show in that it is like, look at how gross this is. It's just disgusting all the time. And that's funny. Like the boy t-shirts where it's like, play video games, shit my pants, sell my sister, like stuff like that. Like that's what Ned's Declassified feels like. But it's good. And also, talk about theme songs, dude. Ned's Declassified has probably the funny. This is better than the iCarly one. This is like probably the best theme song here. And I just wish it wasn't. See, look at this. Drake Bell himself put this up there. And so we're not actually listening to this one because he's a pedophile. I think it's very weird when like you see, I'm not trying to get political on here, but seeing like Josh Peck posting about the Israel-Palestine thing is like just wild to me. It is better than like looking at Drake's Instagram and he's hanging out with 14-year-old girls though. That's probably a little bit worse. Monsters vs. Aliens, I'm assuming there was a show and that this isn't talking about just the movie. But if it's talking about the movie, then it's like a B tier. They changed the voice. I actually do remember this because he actually sounds nothing like Seth Rogen. It's crazy to get him because he actually has done some stuff. Jillian Jacobs, though, she was hold up, Fred was on here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna put it actually, because they took Seth Rogen out of it, we're giving it like D tier. I haven't seen enough of these shows to honestly rank them. We're giving Dude Perfect F though. LT Gray though, dude, oh my god, I'm glad that it's getting the recognition that it deserves in Nick All-Stars 2. It's like a B tier. It's not great, but I liked it. I liked it as a kid. Back at the Barnyard, dude. I love the Barnyard movie. Back at the Barnyard kind of neutered it though. Giving that a C tier. Giving that a C tier. It's not bad. It's still like good, but you know, it's just unnecessary. If I want to watch Back at the Barnyard, I'd rather just watch Barnyard. The Ninja Turtles TV show was also C tier. It was just fine. The CGI movie was good. I liked that. But I've just never been a big Ninja Turtles guy. I think that they're cool, but like, that's kind of where it ends for me. They're just kind of cool, and that's about it. Like, they're not like that cool. They're not super interesting. They're just kind of like, they're just kind of nothing to me personally. Tough Puppy though, dude. This was also C. This one was pretty good, surprisingly, but not good enough to get it out of the C tier. Okay, maybe it's B tier. Maybe it's B tier. Maybe it's B tier. It's pretty good. It's pretty goofy. It's funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And I didn't take it too seriously either, which is the perfect combination. I do think that I actually threw away my Disney tier list picture. I'm pretty sure I trashed it, but not like I had it physically. Like I didn't print it out. It was just on my desktop. I went to clean off my desktop, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the casualties. We can't compare them. I did look. So my Disney Channel tier list from like over a year ago now, it got a comment like a week ago, and somebody said, if you put That's So Raven in D tier, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm glad to see that there's such a dedicated fans to That's So Raven, but it wasn't that good. And I got bullied for it. I got bullied over it. And so it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm pretty sure I explained that in the video. So if that guy's watching this one now, And he also thinks I have no taste. Honestly, good. That dude probably loves Big Time Rush. He's probably a Big Time Rush super fan, actually. And I don't think his opinion doesn't matter to me, because he's a Big Time Rush super fan. We're keeping Dude Perfect at the bottom of F tier, because Dude Perfect sucks. I don't like Dude Perfect, and I don't think that they should even have their own show. This is looking pretty good. One thing that I'll do is drop Rabbids Invasion down. Rabbids Invasion is the worst Nickelodeon show probably on this list, but I've barely seen it, so it's not entirely fair. If I had to pick, Planet Sheen's like the worst one that I like actually watched. I think it's worse than Fred the Show, because Fred the Show was just nothing really. Like, it was just like a regular like Disney Channel or like Nickelodeon like sitcom. And so like whatever. It's like inoffensive for the most part. It's just that like the things that they added to the formula were really bad, which drop it down. But Planet Sheen's like its own thing, and it sucks from like top to bottom. Like, there's nothing redeemable about this. At least with this, if you took out all the bad stuff, you'd be left with something generic. With Planet Sheen, if you took out all the bad stuff, you wouldn't have a show anymore. Sanjay and Craig again, like, it's not like that offensive. It's just nothing. It's just not good. It's like, again, just same thing with Fred, except as a cartoon. They took like a stock cartoon, put a skin over it, and like if you took everything out of that, you'd be left with like something that's just okay. And then you have Fanboy and Chum Chum, which is quite possibly the most offensive show on this list, but it's so bad that it's on the verge of being like watchable, because again, I think that somebody made the whole show as a joke. And when you look at Fanboy and Chum Chum through the filter of like somebody made it as a joke, you can at least like respect it a little bit. The worst one in D tier though, I hate to say it, but I actually don't. It's Big Time Rush. No, it's not. It's the Thundermans. I'm going to be honest. It's the Thundermans. It's so boring. I hate the Thundermans. They're all default skins, but they're interesting. Versus something like this where it's like, let's do a default thing, except for that they're superheroes. And then it still ends up just being the default thing. We're going to put Monsters vs. Aliens next, just because I feel like it can't be that bad. I haven't seen like any of the show, really. I just know that Bob doesn't sound like Seth Rogen, and so that's my main issue with it. And so we're going to put it there. That's probably, this is cheating. I want everybody to know that where I'm putting Monsters vs. Aliens is cheating. But I'm going to do it anyways because it's my tier list. Henry Danger, dude. It's literally just the Thundermans. So I don't know. It's just not good. I don't know. It's like it's like you know how like all religions are like not all religions, but we have like the Abrahamic religions or whatever. That's like what Henry Danger and the Thundermans is. It's like it's the same guy who like went and told two different people about an idea that he had, and they both like split off and like made separate shows. All Grown Up is fine after that. Then True Jackson VP, then Breadwinners. These two are probably like the least bad. Versus the rest of these, I would say are like actively bad. C tier, we're gonna put The Adventures of Pete and Pete at the bottom just because I haven't seen enough to really rank it. So I don't want to say that it's better or worse than anything. So it's just going to be here, which means that it's worse than everything. But, you know, this is like, you know, I'm not trying to put it in the middle because I can't entirely gauge it. I'm going to do the same thing with My Life as a Teenage Robot, partly because I haven't seen enough and partly because it was kind of worse than everything else on here, if I remember correctly, which I think I do. After that's The Loud House, then Mighty B. Jimmy Neutron next, because I feel like Jimmy Neutron is like the perfect C tier where it's like the show's just nothing. Then probably Back at the Barnyard into Ninja Turtles. I think that that's probably fair because the Ninja Turtles are cool and it is cool. And then The Legend of Korra and then Cat Scratch. I think that this is fair. Cat Scratch, again, it's not great, but it is like classic Nickelodeon. And then Legend of Korra is just worse Avatar. So as much as I liked it, Tough Puppy is probably the worst on this one. Personally, I'm going to put Cat Dog above Zoe 101, but aside from that, I'll put El Tigre above the Naked Brothers Band. And honestly, I'll put Tough Puppy above it too. Naked Brothers Band is the worst, but it did make me want to play the guitar, so shout out to that. Tough Puppy, again, it's just good to have a show that doesn't take itself very seriously. El Tigre, very nostalgic, and it's just good. It was like this good like mech suit with like whatever stuff, you know. And then Zoe 101. Then Cat Dog. I think Zoe 101 is like it kind of ushered us into like the prime Nickelodeon that like a lot of people remember. Avatar is going to be last on here actually, just because I don't remember it very well. Then Rugrats. than Victorious. But that's wrong. Victorious is probably the best one here. Fairly Odd Parents is in between Victorious and Sam and Cat. If I could actually put it there. There we go. Sam and Cat is really good, but Fairly Odd Parents is also like just a classic. This one I think is pretty accurate. Ned's declassified. SpongeBob I think is going to be at the best, like by default. Maybe it's just a little bit more niche. You know, not to say that it wasn't popular, but like I said, it was like a boy show where it's just like, you know, it's for shit my pants, play video games, sell my sister kids who wore those t-shirts. Versus like iCarly and Drake and Josh. Like everybody watched those. Even though iCarly I think was probably supposed to be more of like a girly show. A girly show. And I am putting Drake and Josh above iCarly. I like iCarly, but Drake and Josh doesn't fall off like iCarly does, and so that's just why it's better in my opinion. And now it's time for some Mario 64. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting?